Hey everyone. So today we have Craig Short, co-founder and CTO of Gigged.ai. Now, Gigged is what I would call a unicorn in this way. When people ask me, what is the actual technology behind a flexible workforce and a successful flexible talent platform? Usually, I say the technology doesn't matter. It's really just a spreadsheet, and what really matters is the ability for that platform to source, to help scope the work, and have real domain expertise. Now, with Gigged.ai, the reason it's a unicorn is because it has both been able to have the technology expertise as well as the domain expertise. It has been a leader in the actual technology of a platform. And you're going to hear from the man himself, who is the brain of that technology, the CTO and the co-founder, Craig. Now, when also looking at Gigged, they have definitely been one of the industry darlings. They are in the top 20% of Human Cloud's proprietary ranking algorithm. And part of the reason is because they have iterated so much and so fast on specific ways that companies need to bring in flexible talent. One of those innovations is an internal marketplace. Another one of those innovations is the ability to allow large companies like a Microsoft to use the existing partner ecosystem, deployment ecosystem to bring in flexible talent. Now, if that's already too technical, I totally apologize, but it'll all make sense. Just know that when it comes to shipping at speed and making a real impact with flexible talent, Gigged.ai has been one of the darlings in terms of how to build a real technology marketplace and real technology platform. You'll also hear how they've shifted in ways to embrace on-demand, but also large impact. So more than just here's quick gig workers that are task-based, but here are real impactful on-demand outcomes. Last, you're just going to enjoy Craig. He's an absolute great guy. If you want to try to imitate a Scottish accent, this is the episode to learn from. And you're also going to see what it's like building a startup when you're not in San Francisco and Silicon Valley. I can tell y'all personally, I have built in Boston, SF, Seattle, Singapore, Miami, Atlanta. I've built all over the globe. And it can feel difficult, lonely, sort of under-resourced when you're not building in the Mecca, which has historically been San Francisco. And so you're going to hear how Gigged has flipped that to actually be a strength. The fact that they are proudly built in Scotland. Maybe a little cheesy tagline like built in Scotland, made for the world. You know, I'm sure they have thought about that or have it on a t-shirt. So without further ado, enjoy Craig, enjoy this episode, and most importantly, go drive that change. All right, Craig, listen, this is 5 years in the making. I'm pretty sad that you're not wearing a kilt. I really did expect that, but it's okay. We'll go with the 2-button look instead. But listen, for you listeners out there, if you don't know about Gigged, you've been living under a rock. It's definitely one of the fastest growing, as well as already one of the most successful tech platforms in the flexible workforce. So it's an honor to have you, Craig, and I think what's been awesome is we've had Rich before, and we've known each other for a while, and we're going to kind of combine both founder/industry in a way that I think our listeners, you all will enjoy. So I guess, Craig, do you want to start with, and by the way, listeners, make sure you watch the video because we're having a little bit of a background competition, and I think he has me beat. I can't compete with like full wall-to-wall windows and trees, Craig. I tried my best, but I can't compete with that.
Yeah, well, I'm a little bit sad, though, because it's the one day that's not been really sunny here in Scotland. It's letting me down. It does look bright, but it's cloudy today. It's not been, and it's been like 30 degrees here in Scotland. Unheard of, Matt. Unheard of.
Okay, so I've learned that my Europe travels, so I think I told you I'm like half in Europe now. I always bring the sunshine. I don't know what it is. I'm definitely jinxing it. So like this is my way to say, please pay for me to come to Scotland. And so just float a nice plane ticket over there, and we'll show up, and it'll be nice and sunny.
And you'll see that not everybody wears kilts. Like I know that Rich gives that impression that when every time that he's doing like a talk in America or something, you wear a kilt. Like it doesn't really happen every day here in Scotland. But like we do like a kilt, just it's not you don't see money kicking about in a kilt.
That is so, in the show notes, actually, I'm going to put like your favorite kilt link so that our listeners can go grab one if they'd like. Also, a quick gig story. When did Rich do the Shark Tank in his kilt? Because this is a legendary industry story.
Yeah, I think that was a just was very early days, so it could be 2023. I think it was. I think it was like 2 years ago when he was over, and yeah, he stood in front of a stage of thousands with his kilt on. But again, it like I think it did it wonders because everybody wanted to come up and talk to him because he was Scottish and was wearing a kilt. It definitely works.
And not just thousands. We're talking about thousands executives wearing the most boring stuff possible. So yes, it wasn't like a South by Southby, or like a creative event. I don't know. But listen, Craig, let's just do a quick little intro on yourself for our listeners and also on Gigged.
Okay, so I'm Craig Short, co-founder and CTO at Gigged. I've got a background in computer networking and security. So when I was younger, I used to drive past on the M8. I used to see this big Cisco building. And then when I got into computing, I was like, I just want to be a Cisco guy. I had this picture of being like, wanting to be corporate and wanting to wear like the suit that all these guys were wearing and go and doing like all this like Cisco stuff. So spent a lot of time doing that, got my like CCNAs, CCNPs and stuff like that. And then fell into the contracting world. And from there, that's where like this kind of was born. And what happened was everyone just kept saying like, "Oh, Craig's in IT." So I always say I'm from Glasgow, but I'm really from a small town called like Biggar in the middle of nowhere. It's like right in between Glasgow and Edinburgh. So when they find out that Craig does IT, it was very much like if you needed your mobile fixed, Craig could probably do it. If you needed a website, Craig could do it and all these things. So when I was younger, I just started doing this. And again, like I started building like a little platform for me and my freelancer buddies. Because what ended up happening was because I was doing all this, like I had my contract and work, but on the side I was doing like little websites, doing things here there for different companies. And then when I like just couldn't do it, or it was something that was maybe a bit above me, I found like on like forums, like Twitter, like on LinkedIn, stuff like that, just other freelancers. There ended up being a team of like 10 of us. And then what I did was I actually built just like a little platform that I could like give the guys it. So you would make a cut if you gave it to someone else. So you used to just like make, but at the time it wasn't as like what we're doing now. And actually, it was just like somebody would give you $50 or $40 if like you brought a gig and they got it. It was just as easy as that. And so I had a very simple platform for me and my little freelancing buddies. And then Rich came along, and he's much more business minded than I am, as you know. I'm getting a little bit better after the 4 years hanging out with Rich every day. But yeah, that's where it all like started from. Just like my being on the kind of contracting side, being a freelancer here in like the UK. I was working at some of like the biggest like banks doing like transformation programs, but on the side doing just absolutely everything and anything like websites, networking for like companies, all sorts of things. And then Rich actually came with like the plan, obviously with his experience being in recruitment. He then actually had a plan and a business of this platform, and he's seen the future of how freelancers are going to be like working. And this is, he actually knew it was going to be bigger than what I thought. I thought this thing could make me some beer tokens, I used to say, like on like the side. But he had the real vision of like, this is a bigger thing. And then it opened my eyes to it. I was just like, well, there is an opportunity here. Let's go. Like this is big.
So I wonder, there's one direction that I do want to go is I do want to hit on what what are the strengths and weaknesses of starting in Glasgow and Scotland versus starting in San Francisco or London. So that is one direction that I want to make sure we hit. Before that, since you are the technical, right? And since you had your network of 10 before any of this, I have a really interesting question, which is the world that you visioned, right? Like the technology world that you envisioned. How similar slash far off slash totally different are we from that world? And let me give you a tiny bit of context. So I got into this world in 2012. I was at Microsoft in 2018, Gigster in 2016. And a lot of times between 2016 to 2020, people would say, oh, this is like Uber for talent.
Yeah.
And I would say we never really got there just because when I push one button, I can get to that place in 20 minutes. But working with talent isn't really that way, right? And so to me, that was like technology was different than than what a lot of people envisioned. But so from your perspective, how close is what Gigged is today and will be in 5 years to what you originally and what did you originally envision?
Yeah, so for me, I actually we hit what I visioned. Like, so I actually we got to like where I thought that we would, and what's happened is it's the balance has changed a little bit with the size of the companies that we're working with. But so from like the early days, like we got thousands of people like signing up and looking for like their next projects and stuff like that. And we're very lucky. So we spent a lot of time because of the we've like spent like a lot of time and effort on our matching algorithm to make sure it was like world class. We're going out the matching algorithm giving you that weighted score and why this person's the best at doing it and available and stuff. So we needed to have the supply before people so they could get that experience, go through it.
Yeah.
And see, when it was like smaller, shorter, sharper pieces of work, like up to £1,000, I would say we were getting a lot of them. A lot of people like coming for like copywriting, they were coming for like logos, they were coming for all sorts, just smaller pieces of work to kind of test out the waters, if you will. At that point it was very close to being that just Uber, just press the button, hire that person there, and it was working so well and like so smooth, like all platform, completely the platform all handling it. And that's when the ball started rolling and we started getting investment and stuff like that. It was like, this thing is actually working, which is crazy because at that point it was just me, it was creating it. And like my devs are 100 times better than me. I say this all the time, like they made fun of like a lot of my code. Like, so they looked at a lot of the ways I did things and they've said, why the heck did you do it? Like, what is this? At first I was a little bit like, well, leave me alone. I'm actually still good at this. But now I'm like, these guys are so much better than me. That's why you hire them, because they're much better devs. But yeah, so in the early days, Matt, it was very much like working like that. But like what I've found now is we have been lucky enough to work with like such large enterprises, and we now only really work with these large enterprises. With all the clients that we're on, we allow that, but we don't actually now. We've like blocked off like the signups, and we just like primarily work with enterprise like clients, and for a couple of reasons, because like it's the same work for like both. They said the biggest reason though being was that was our biggest client customer base, so we just wanted to double down on everything that we're doing on the platform make sense for them, because it wasn't like that, oh, an enterprise client does like £100,000 gig rather than it be someone at 1,000. Like if you've done like more, you can go two ways with that. We could have done more volume in work because our volume was picking up. But what happened was it was just enterprises just kept coming to us. We thought that would be like in the future, whereas it just like naturally happened. And then what we were finding is that enterprises are work differently. They need to do like more interviews. They want to have more proposals and checks, and they want like a little bit more hand holding, if you will, rather than it being that, like what you said, like that click of like the Uber.
Yeah.
So we're lucky that we've got a really good customer success that actually help. And even though that's taken away from that like complete thing that I envisioned, I used to always think that like for this to be successful and the best, it had to be everything, the platform had to do it all and everything like that. But people like people, it turns out, like, and like I'm even finding that myself, like other clients like to chat to you. So I've made good friends with a few of our clients who now send me memes and things, which is amazing. Like they just, I was scared at one point because they're such like big enterprises and senior people at these, but they're sending me memes on Teams and I'm part of like their wee thing, stuff like that. And it's like, I think people like people, and they like to know that there is that balance of like both the technology there and not. So I think we've kind of went like full circle and that full, like it being like the click of a button to be able to handle it all kind of thing.
Yeah, we, it's the biggest learnings that we see from solutions is typically the exact evolution that you're talking about of going from the platform will handle everything to we need to strategically input where the platform and the human play. And I'll never forget. I mean, when leading like at first Microsoft's program, then 20 plus Fortune 500s, we'd have all these platforms coming to us, and like 99% looked like the same thing, meaning, oh, the technology will handle it all, the technology will handle it all. And the reality was, we're like, we're never going to log into your systems. We're never going to use your billing process. We need you to adapt to us, not the other way. And if you can't do that, then have fun with another enterprise. But most likely, we all, need that custom white glove solution. And that's why, I mean, Craig, that's why I always laugh. I'm like, I hate being a quote unquote consultant, but it is needed from a human and actual, manual perspective. So I'm totally not surprised to hear what you've learned. But let's double click on that, right? So first, just tell us about the platform, tell us about the skills you have, tell us about what a typical client engagement looks like, and then we're going to get deep into, okay, what is unique about the enterprise, because most of our listeners listening right now are the enterprise leaders saying, how do I actually make this work, right? And it's
Yeah.
tough. So give us the gig spin.
Yeah, so we actually have like such a mixed bag, and it's funny. So right at the very beginning, I remember the days like so vividly because it terrified us. Our biggest client, like the turnover crazy billions a year, and not like they're humongous like company, 60,000 people and stuff like that. They went on at the weekend and actually posted the gig, hired, paid, everything like that. Got a guy on at the weekend when like none of my staff were in. Like I could see it all happening and I knew it was happening, but like they very quickly just chose, and it was not the kind of behavior that we were used to for like that kind of size of like a client. So we do get it both ways, but that is becoming, like you've just said, it's like becoming a little bit less like normal. Now it's a hybrid of like our customer success will like get like job specs, so we'll put it on as on behalf of them, and then they like to log in and go through everything once that's all happened. So we've even got like integrations with a couple of like clients because the way that they like to work is actually just from like their system that can then upload like the job spec and walk through. So we've actually worked with them to be able to like put the statement of work in the way that we want it. So we spent a lot of time and effort on making sure that the statement of work creator like works in the way that it does to be able to get the right relevant information out of our clients very easily. So because that's like a well qualified like statement of work really helps like with like the proposals and all like the other good stuff, and the matching for itself as well. So once that's posted, our matching algorithm comes back with like the top 5 people who are best. But what happens as well is just like probably most other systems, everyone will be notified who's got their like profile is available, and not only available, but like with I think we're about 77%. If they've got 77% of the skills are above that you're looking for, they'll also get a notification to say, look, you've come up on like this, like would you like to send like a proposal? And something that we've actually done and spent like a bit of time on is like verifying the kind of like the length, the quality, and having like a kind of quality metric on our proposals.
Yeah.
Because what we ended up learning as well is like, so the evolution of like when somebody comes to us, they're like a big enterprise, they need someone now, and like they need someone like actually they need someone yesterday, and they need them like on this thing right this now. So they always are like struggling to find. They've maybe used traditional methods of went to someone and they're like, or told 6 weeks or whatever it is to like get someone in. We have like proposals coming into them thick and fast, like really quickly with our talent pool. And what happens is that it goes like full like swing. So they always say that they're really struggling to get that talent. We find the talent very quickly. They get solid proposal over, but then they get overwhelmed because they've actually got 7 in about 24 hours that are ready to work and ready to go. And then they're like, I don't like this anymore. Like, just can we stop this? Can we block it? So when it used to be amazing to be able to get like, we would like praise ourselves and like give it like 24 hours and you're going to get on average 8 to 10 solid proposals throughout the system. we've actually took a step back, and it's now we're speaking with them and how many are they looking for, and we'll kind of like block off to do, because again, it adds to the work. So it
Yeah.
goes like, when we first began, it was like, we want to help people with skill shortages. Like, that's our thing, is like, if they've got like a skill shortage, or like they don't understand what's in their business, that's where we want to come in and help. It's all like around the skills. But what happens is that if you send too much, that's then extra work as well. So they don't want. So it's try to meet in the middle and get that balance with your customer for, what do you want us to send you over? And 9 times out of 10, like if we send 3, it's like, right, they're going with the top one from that like weighted score. So it's we had to pull that back as well, rather than it just be this like, right, here's 10 folk, or like some again got more. Like you're higher paying, as you know, you see it yourself. It's like a lot of people were doing it. So, but that also comes with its challenges of having to go through and interview and do all that good stuff. So we had to do a lot of work to make that more streamlined and fix that as well.
So we always say, we call it build the stage, then self-service, but always someone to call. Because exactly to your point, right? And I mean, imagine the days where there was these large marketplaces where you'd put one post and you would get hundreds of people fighting over each other, basically being, oh, I'll do it for 100, I'll do it for 75. And it's
Yeah.
like, whoa, 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 whoa. I just want to pick up the phone and have someone in the office by Monday, right?
Yeah.
In a perfect world. Now, I'm going to ask a question that I really don't want to, but that you, my friend, I would say have a very unique way to answer this. And I don't want to ask it because I'm so sick of hearing about it, but I know that it's on everyone's agenda and you have such a unique vantage point. And that's going to be the AI question.
Okay.
And so, from your perspective, as someone who's actually technical, what is, I mean, let's just have I guess, an open debate. When you think AI, do you want to puke? Do you get excited? What's the impact for customers? What's the impact for you? Give me the overall AI, spin.
Okay. So I get excited mostly. There are times I get overwhelmed, to be honest. It's like the speed on what these companies are putting out cool tools and trying to keep on top of it is crazy. Like, I remember my first time I used like Cursor, and like I went on Cursor and then I like just got it to create something that's little, and then they've created the agent version that can work in the background, all this good stuff. And like, I made like an iPhone app in a weekend. Like, I was supposed to take time off, and I was like getting away from Gigged. It was kind of forced on because I hadn't taken much holidays. And within like a weekend, I've got an iPhone app that was working, and then I actually submit. And then so these things are crazy good, and it's exciting. And we're seeing like a lot of our clients actually obviously really excited in the space and like doing things. But for me at the moment, like it is getting so good. Like the AI is, like last night actually I just used like Claude's new Claude Code. So again, not even having to use like Cursor or anything, you can use it in whatever IDE you want. And it is so good. It's scary good. It learns your whole entire code base very quickly, and it can like use it. So it's amazing. I've also got a really good story where it was like, we got like a gig from like one of our favorite clients, and it was like a small thing. They just needed a hand with some data scraping. So one of my devs said, like, can I pick this up? I was like, I can build like a little thing, like, and be able to do this. He got Claude to build him like a little agent. And so he's now got this little agent he just runs to be able to do this any other time. And it was for web scraping. He got like paid $1,000. He says he put it in there. It took him like, I think, 35 minutes to create the thing. He then managed to get that. So it's like what people can do. And this was my front end dev that did this. Like, he is insane. He'll hate that when he watches this. Like, his eye for detail. He's like insane, and like everything has to be perfect. Everything has to be so like bang on the money. He's not like very good at just winging it and doing something. It has to be pixel perfect, everything there. Yeah. And that's his thing. He's just so good at it. He's not really doing much in like the web scraping shape or form, but like just because he knows enough, he was on straight away, did that, he paid $1,000 for 35 minutes work. The thing just ran in the background and doing it. And it's like, it's just we're getting to like such a crazy stage with all these AI tools that can just do all this. It's I actually don't know what I would do without it. See if like it all just shut off today, I'd be like, oh no,
Yeah.
I need to learn to spell and stuff and write SQL queries. Like I don't know how to do that. You forget.
Now, what would you say is the impact of that, though, for the enterprise executive, even the entrepreneur, us that want to build stuff? Because for me, as good as AI will always ever, I mean, it can become as good as it possibly can. I still want someone to own it.
Yeah,
And a typical enterprise term is I still want one neck to choke, right? And it does kind of remind me of, I mean, if you look at who was it? Was it Andreessen that said technology is just bundling and unbundling, right? And so we have all these AI tools now. Things are unbundling in terms of you can go around the one vendor you used to use or whatever. And to me, I agree that these tools are insane. We actually, Craig, I haven't told you this yet. We did in 5 minutes what had taken us 5 years using Claude, and I'll talk offline of it with you about that. But it was just like, oh my god, it was insane. But what do you think the impact for you and your clients? Does this mean hire less but hire the exact right person? Like what's the impact for you guys and your clients?
so what we are seeing, we're actually seeing a lot more people being hired at the moment. Like it's more the freelancers are becoming bigger because of this. I feel so. It's like the specialists in the area. Like our platform was never like a AI specialist platform, a data specialist platform, or like engineers. Like it was supposed to just be like a broad range of like skills. But the skills on our platform and the hiring is always data related, or it's now like data AI, and it's because like all these companies like need someone in to like, be able to help like do this, and they've realised it's maybe not like a full time job. It's like like a small project to be able to get something, and then they're hiring someone else to do it. So what we are seeing is that everyone's excited about the agents, but like you said, it's like agents and like AI is only like supplementing someone. And I feel that it's kind of like taken away from perm, and it's now like you're getting it's like what we're seeing is it's more like between an agent and someone that's like they're like a superpower and they're doing it in 6 months now rather than like what you just said, like something that took 5 years took like a little bit quicker. And it's all these like agents that are going into like these companies. So a lot of our clients actually have we know that are working with like I think one of them said 1,000 agents they've got within their organization. The
Yeah.
company's huge and they're like got a lot of money behind them, but they're working directly with like OpenAI to be able to have all this. But what we're noticing though is it's like where how do you get access to that when you're working in there? And like how so like what does it look like? What's that front end? Like how do you find that skill that does that thing? And if you've got 1,000 agents, like what agent does what? Like where are you looking to be able to see that? Like um and that's like one of the things that we've really been doubling down on and working on. So like when you think that we're just like a platform to finding the right skill. So when like companies come to us, when our internal talent marketplace was born, it's now we call it our skills intelligence platform now. But the whole piece of it being internal and they put their own employees on, the whole idea was that everyone came to us and said, look, we've got like X thousand of employees, but we couldn't tell you any sort of like skills. So, for example, one of the companies in Glasgow that we work with, they had like 400 developers in Glasgow. They just are slapped with that right across board. They're just a developer. That's all that you know. And it's like, right, well, what's this guy's speciality and stuff like that? A lot of them aren't actual developers. They're just like data, like whatever. They're data guys or they're just techies in some shape or form. And that's the kind of like broad brush that's been across. But when you're looking for someone like this particular skills, that's like where we came.
Yeah.
And so, what a lot of our clients are really excited about, like what we're working on now, is that with all these big companies that are they're building all their own agents, we want them to put this on the platform as well, so everybody can find it just the exact same way. So it's like And what we're finding is like it goes internal. It's always a person first. You want a person. Like it's if that person's like there, like they don't want like the agent role. It's like an internal person. Do they have like that key skill? Is there then an agent that can help support that? If not, then they can like tie into our like external marketplace and be able to do it. But um, right now, it's I think it's getting there. I don't think there's that much work going on. I don't think that there's an agent that's like fired like five people on the side or anything like that. You hear a lot of these stories, but it's not what we are seeing. You're kind of like your normal day to day worker doesn't really have access to all these things. I'm sure it will happen soon, and with all like the upgrades that are happening and the speed that they're happening, I'm sure some things could be kind of like roles being not redundant, but like less in demand for a full time person 24/7. It will
Yeah.
go to that kind of contractor freelancer 2 days a week, 3 days a week plus an agent, like rather than paying that kind of full time salary.
So you know what actually where my mind jumps to, Craig, and what you've told me and what we're experiencing is it seems like titles are becoming such a non-signal, meaning you can't like it's not enough to be a title. And I remember when I started my first company, uh, someone was like, I was like, oh, okay, who's the CTO? And the assumption was like, oh, if tech, then CTO. Well, now to your point, you might not need a CTO, or it might be a developer who's doing front end that just built a full stack. Like so, there's so much opportunity in a way that creates more confusion but more opportunity. I mean, we have a team member who they could easily be the CTO of us, and they aren't even a computer science major.
Yeah.
Right? There's such a massive implication, but I think focusing on the skill makes total sense. Um, I really want to get into before we actually get into the Scotland side. So, give our listeners kind of the last 6 months and next 6 months because you've had some big wins. You know, there's a round that you just raised. You, like I
Yeah.
said, you positioned the skills based platform. But what have been some big wins in the past 6 months and upcoming in the next six?
I think like big wins have just been like the enterprises that are coming to us. It's like it blows my mind how people are finding us and like hearing about us. Again, I always lean on it. Like that's just been in Little Scotland, but like a couple of weeks ago, I had like a guy from a movie studio in LA. They have like 30,000 people and they don't understand the skills. And like my favorite film's Top Gun. Like
Yeah.
me and my dad and my brother have been like obsessed with. Well, it basically was forced into me because like my dad loves it so much, but we like love. And he was sitting with the big Maverick thing behind him and stuff like that. And when you have like things like that happening, it's just like this is crazy. Like how did like this massive like movie studio find like Gigged.ai? It's just like it's so cool. So like the wins in the last 6 months have just been, I think it's like I feel like the ball is properly rolling. It's and the biggest win is that the clients that are coming to us are they know like they are coming to me with a problem that I know we solve. So I always like Rich always says that I've got a really bad poker face because I get really excited because when they come to us, like they're always saying like, right, we've maybe got a spreadsheet, we don't understand the skills we've got. Then we're always like going out to like a recruiter to try and do this. Like we need X, Y, Z. All of these things that get said, like that's why we're here. Like, and it's all of these really big like companies that we're working with come and speak our language. Like they are literally crying out for like what we've got and what we've built. So it's been amazing to watch the last like 6 months, like that momentum that's like happening. But it's one of these things. Be careful what you wish for because we've been really busy and it's just constant like there. But it's so good to see when you take a step back and you see some of like our clients and things like that. Like Sean, our head of growth, the other day they made like a kind of picture with all like of our clients, like some of the clients that we've been working with. You're like, we're just a little company from Scotland. How are we working with such like big things? It's just so it's like so cool to see. And so for the next 6 months, what we're really like doubling down on at the moment is like again boring answer, but it is that AI piece. Um, And again, not just for AI's sake, but because some of like the tools and the agents that are around are actually that good that it can take away. So one of the big pieces that we've been working with a client on has been like MI. Like there's always, I always like to say this on like calls as well. It's like there's always a boss somewhere that needs some sort of crazy answer. Like how many people in this location have logged in the last however many days. It's got whatever it is that you can now ask this agent that we've created and we've implemented in some of our clients. You can ask it anything you want. It can feed you the information back and present it in tables and stuff like that for you. That used to come to me. So like, or they would request it through our customer success or like through our guys, and it would just be a really niche thing that they need off a report to prove something. And now it's like our software's doing that. So with that combined with allowing like the customers to really like have their own agents on, like we want them to bring your own agent and put them on. So we know that a lot of our clients are working on this. They're building like internal agents. Put them on alongside your staff and find that skill that you're looking for, be an agent, be a person, whatever it is. We're really doubling down on that within like the rest of this year. Purely because again, it's like something that's coming to us from our clients. They've got a need and it's exciting to see. Like, so I want to be able to see like what does happen when they actually like managers out there have access to all these 1,000 agents that's in an organization. Like, is it going to like really double like the work ethic? Is it going to like double output, or is it still just going to take, like to our point, like a human being alongside that, and it's just making their lives a little bit easier and less stress? So excited to see how it like plays out.
I can't wait to hear in 6 months from now, and we'll lean on you guys to give us the data on to your point, what is the productivity gains, what's the ROI gains, right? Like what's really happening. I will say it's funny being in the stage where you have a lot of people saying, hey, what is your AI maturity, right? And it's kind of like that cute academic phase of like, oh, like I'm going to show either how much I know about AI or whatever. And the next phase is, well, what did you actually do, right? And Greg, my technology Luddite background of being in tech for so long now is most solutions actually don't need a technology solution, and or it's you need that business case, right? So I can't wait for in 6 months to stop saying like, oh, I'm a master in AI, but instead,
Yeah.
oh yeah, we just raised $1 billion round because of this, or we just hit 10 million in revenue because of this. But so last section, Craig, and this is where we've alluded to it, and that is building in Scotland.
Okay.
So most of our listeners have probably 70% have probably been to London, I guarantee. Probably 20 to 30% of you listeners are sitting in San Francisco as we speak. And I will tell you, Craig, I started in San Francisco because I was told that's where all the opportunity is. So go, right? Now, you guys started, you've stayed, and you got the accents. So it's
Yeah.
obvious, right? It's obvious that you're not calling in for myself. But what do you think's been the impact, and what's it been like starting a company in Scotland versus the other side of the island? What's been the
Yeah.
impact of Scotland?
So I think like well, the first thing, the accent definitely helps, and people for some reason just well, it seems like really like Scotland. It's just for some like everywhere we go, it's just like once they hear it, you're like, oh, you're from Scotland. They don't. No one knows how to say Craig though. It's Craig everywhere. Like it's Craig. It's never Craig. It's yeah. So sometimes I think they say Greg, but apart from that, like everybody, it seems where we go, like you're just welcomed being in Scotland. I don't think anyone ever seems to have like a bad thing to say about us Scottish people. But from like the business like standpoint, I would say it's definitely a little bit harder. There's not as much money. So like when we raise, so like we've obviously just closed like a funding round and stuff. And it's like a tenth of like someone in the same position would be within like San Francisco or something. It's like every time we read about like anything in America, it's all like it's bigger. And I think like that's just in general. Like everything's bigger in America than it is here in Scotland. Like we're just But it's really not stopped us. Like, we hear quite a lot, like there's a lot of like excuses and people moaning and stuff like that it's not like possible and there's not that much backing and support. But like the Scottish government, the Scottish Enterprise have been amazing to us, like really, really good. We got our first grant. Like I remember, like we get sent like £100,000 like as like a grant to be able to like build out our AI before, like when we had like a shell of a platform, and that's like a government funded program. And like without that, like we wouldn't have had that really good algorithm that we've now got that everybody loved and seen and stuff like that. So like it is doable. It's just not as obviously big. But being in Scotland, I think like you get like a lot of people will be moaning and saying and they can't go do all that stuff they could do, but you don't need to be able to do that. Like you don't need to have like raise 10 million to start a company. You don't need like pre-seed. It's not like a thing. Like we've done like really well, and I think Rich will kill me for not even knowing this off the top of my head, but I think it's like we've raised like just over like 3.5, I think, over like our time. And as you said, like we're still here, we're still like the clients that we're working with, everything. It's just like it's not needed. Yeah. And I'm happy where we are. And obviously, like I said just there, it's when we being in Scotland, it just being Scottish seems to help. Like we always chat to people from all over the world, and then someone always has a story about coming here or wanting to do this or something, or they have like there's always something. So again, like I'm pretty proud to be from Scotland, and don't think that there's as much of like an issue that like some people would say from like this side. It's just maybe not quite as huge as being in America, but yeah, still very doable, easy.
Everything is bigger here, but I think it all comes back to, especially, I mean, what we talked about in the beginning of our episode, which was that you thought that it would be Uber for talent. Everyone loves the platform. The reality is it's somewhere in between. It does require the white glove, and I think environments like Scotland, from knowing y'all, it forces you to really know your customers. There's less wiggle room. There's less fuck up room. When you go and you raise a $1 million seed, pre-seed off of a PowerPoint deck, well, that actually brings its own challenges. And usually those challenges are you really solving a deep problem, or are you solving what your investors want or what you think your investors want? And you guys just haven't had that luxury or that opportunity. So I fully hear you. I listen, Craig, as we close up, what is the one thing that you want our listeners to know besides go hire right now? But what is the one thing that you want our listeners to know about Gigged and about honestly the future of work?
Good question. But for here, so probably the one thing about like Gigged is that there are humans there. That's like one of the biggest learns, as I said, like that I want people to know. So in the early days, it was very much like I was against that. And it was like, if Rich was like, no, we need to hire people in that, I was like, that to me was a challenge. How do I then fix that issue by using technology to not have to do that? But as like we've said like a few times in this podcast, it's people want to work with people. And like, we've got such a good team like behind us. We get nothing but compliments from about our customer success team. And it's something that we've learned from like rolling out like our skills intelligence platform. It's like it's not just a bit of technology. It's all of the experiences, all the lessons learned that we've got from like working with all these big companies. It's like everything else that comes with it. It's not just like we fling a bit of software to people and there. It's like you've got like a hand to be held as well, and we walk through it and we give like that experience. And I just hope that comes across as like part of it as well, rather than we're just this bit of technology and then you just have to go use it. It's like there are people behind the technology, and a lot smarter than I am as well. So it's like there's some really smart, clever, good people that work for Gigged, and they're here to help. So it's hopefully not everybody thinks it's just another tool and that's it.
I love it. Well, Craig, listen, thank you for your time. Listeners, Gigged.ai. Go check it out right now. Craig, if listeners reach out to you, then we will talk about movies and we'll talk about the painting that you have in your wall in the background. You listeners, I will not tell you what's behind him intentionally so that you have to go reach out to him. Craig, first of many, thank you so much for hopping on, my friend.
No, thank you. I appreciate it.